Hello, my friends. I am so happy to be with you today. My name is Katie Taylor. I am a certified child life specialist and the host of the Child Life On Call podcast. This podcast exists so that parents who are navigating the early journeys of medical experiences with their kids know that other parents have walked the path before. Now, type 1 is most commonly diagnosed in school age kids, but according to the International Society for Pediatric Diabetes, fewer than 5% of all new cases happen in children under the age of 2. That means when a baby is diagnosed, like a baby we'll talk about today with his wonderful mom, Marlee, like at just 12 months old, families are suddenly navigating a very rare and medically complex version of type 1. At that age, babies can't communicate their symptoms with their voice. They can't say that they feel shaky or dizzy, and parents have to interpret their cries and naps and need for water through a medical lens. Research published in Pediatric Diabetes and the CDC's Pediatric Trends reports show that early onset cases are also on the rise, growing by about 5% each year. But despite that, most diabetes education tools are designed for school-age children, leaving parents of infants to adapt materials that are really meant for older children. And as you'll absolutely see and hear when we talk to Marlee, it's not just medical management. This is so emotional and exactly why we have this podcast. More than 70% of parents with a baby diagnosed under 18 months report falling asleep at night because of blood sugar instability. Parents can often check glucose 10 to 15 times per day, including having multiple times overnight, because in infants, even small insulin errors can lead to dangerous lows. Today, we're talking with Marlee, who lives this reality. Marlee's baby was just 12 months old when she entered the world of carb counting, insulin dosing, and nonstop monitoring. One of the other amazing things about Marlee that I can't wait for you to hear is that she's a speech therapist, and I was automatically drawn to her by the way that she is flipping medical parenting on its head. She is a perfect example of how modeling and narrating care to your child can actually help them learn, even when they're as young as a toddler. I couldn't be more grateful for the time that she gave us today and can't wait to share her story. Let's go ahead and get started.
I'm Marlee. I am a pediatric speech language pathologist by trade. That's what I've done for 5 years, and I loved it. I love pediatrics. I love like birth to 3, 5-ish. Getting over 5 is not my gist. I love it, but I love those little babies, getting them
Yeah.
before they start in school. But now I'm a mom, and that's kind of like my full-time gig, and I love every part of it, but of course, I miss being a speech therapist and,
Yeah.
getting to interact with my kids in person.
Yeah. What drew you to speech therapy?
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be in healthcare, and I job shadowed a bunch of different disciplines. I took these, like, tests that tell you your personality and this is the jobs you should do, and
That's so
I was like,
cool.
yeah, I was, like, lost, like, what do I do? I knew I didn't wanna be a nurse, I knew I didn't want to, like, be the main person in there, but I wanted to be on the outskirts, and so when I job shadowed somebody in a nursing home, and I was like, "No, I do not wanna do this, I do not wanna work with older people. No, I can't do
Yeah.
this." And then I job shadowed a speech therapist in a school, and I started seeing more like, okay, this is fun. Like,
Mm.
you're still in healthcare, but you have more relaxation, I would say, in a way, but there is lots of like, there's a lot more that goes into it, but it's fun, and your job is basically to just play with kids. That's what parents think you're doing, playing with kids.
Yeah.
So, when I saw what they do in pediatrics with babies, I was like, "Yeah, this is for me. Like, this is
Yeah.
what I wanna do." So, yeah, it's the best job in the world. To me, it is.
It's so nice to have that aha moment. And I was kind of like you. I knew I wanted to work with kids and families in vulnerable situations. I didn't know what it was called. And then I met a child life specialist and I was like,
Yep,
you're
you're
what
the
I want to
one. Yep.
do. Well, you've transitioned from being in pediatrics to being a mom. Walk us through that journey. You're the mom to the cutest little peanut in the history of the world. Bain is so adorable. Tell us a little bit about being pregnant with him that first year and realizing that something was going on with him.
So, Bain is my first child, and I was pregnant with him. I had the best pregnancy and delivery, no issues, and then I stayed home with him for the 3 months for maternity leave, and then I went back to my pediatric clinic job. Thankfully, we only worked like 4 days a week. We had long weekends. My boss was wonderful. She's very family oriented. So if he was ever sick or anything, you just move kids to another day, skip kids, get another therapist to cover for them. So it was easy peasy with that in a sense, I guess. I did breastfeed him. So we pumped when I was at work. I kept doing all that and pushed through that. That was very much important to me. And then once he turned 12 months old, we had his birthday, and I was starting to wean on the pump at work anyway because he's 12 months old now, he's eating more
Yeah.
food, and so I guess it was 5 days after his first birthday, he just seemed I was actually at work, my husband works from home, and his mom kept Bain at our house. So they kept kinda, like, just messaging me, "He's acting weird, he's fussy, he just don't feel good, we think he has an ear infection." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll just go home after lunch and we'll just check on him, whatever." So I go home and I can tell he don't feel good, but once he sees me, he kind of perks up. He's like, "Oh, mom's home." And he gets that like little burst of energy. So I'm like, okay, maybe he was just tired of y'all. He just wanted me to come home. You know what I mean? So we took a nap, we played, whatever. Throughout the day, he kind of was fussy, but he would get little bursts of energy. And then that night, around like 5:30ish, we were like, okay, before it was about to be the weekend, it was Thursday night, his pediatrician was already closed, so we were like, "Let's just take him to urgent clinic, get him checked out." So
Yeah.
we took him, they told us he had a double ear infection, they gave him a shot because the pharmacies were closed and we couldn't get antibiotics, and we waited for, I guess, to see if the shot was gonna have any effects or anything, and while we were waiting, he just vomited all over me. He was still nursing at the time, so he would, like, try to nurse, and then he would immediately vomit. So, it just became a pattern. We went home, we were like, "Okay, well," he kinda stopped for a second when we went home. When we got home, it got bad. Like, he just he went from a sickly, ear-infected, fussy child to, like, he was, like it was bad. Like, it really was bad.
Yeah. You
He
start
was
to really see, like, what lethargic and sick
Yes.
actually looks
He
like.
couldn't hold his head up. He couldn't open his eyes. He couldn't stop vomiting, but then if you saw he's only a 12-month-old baby, right? He's not even walking at this point. If he sees a drink, he's like, forcefully grabbing it. If he sees me, he's trying to force himself to nurse, like, he's trying to drink, 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 but immediately vomiting, so my husband's like, "We're going to the ER."
Yeah.
So we go to the ER, and we live in a very small town ER. I don't even know if they've ever seen a baby with diabetes to be they
Yeah.
probably haven't,
Yeah.
to be honest. So,
Yeah, you're
we
probably
go
right.
in, and they do all their standard stuff, and the doctor literally walks in, he's like, "He has diabetes," and we're like, "What are you talking about?" What like, the first thing that went through my mind, which is horrible because now it bothers me, is like, "How does my baby have diabetes? He's not overweight. He literally
Yeah.
drinks breast milk. He doesn't even really eat food." Like,
Right.
you just go to that naive little like the quote unquote like stereotypes about
Right.
diabetes. And you don't think type 1 has nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah.
So that kind of changed everything. And from that point, I never went back to work. I couldn't go back to work because it literally changed our life.
Yeah, and you just bring up so many misconceptions about diabetes, and actually, I was just watching Love Is Blind, and there was, like, a whole
Yeah.
little conversation about that, and the general population doesn't understand that kids can be diagnosed with type 1 early and that it's not about nutrition. At
Yes.
least that's not the reason that it happens. So, usually, that'll get you a ticket into the hospital for some diabetes education and training and making sure that he's stable. Is that what happened with y'all?
Yeah, so basically, he was to the point where he was in like severe DKA. He was kind of borderline on a diabetic coma. He got or whatever they call it, life flighted out of our small town hospital to a children's hospital. They let me fly with him, but he was in the back on a gurney with the guys, and we went and we were in the PICU for 3 days. And from there, they were checking his blood sugar every hour, meaning they're poking his toes and his fingers to check his blood sugar. And then They were taking his blood every 4 hours, I guess, to test for his gaps and all the stuff that they have to check to make sure he's back where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Basically, DKA means his blood is turned acidic, and they're trying to get it where his blood isn't acidic anymore. And it was traumatic. It really was.
Yeah, it's breaking my heart. Just your life changes overnight. Your baby is so sick in the hospital and you're in like fight or flight mode, having to move through the motions of an impossible situation and hearing words and having to make decisions that you're like, "Wait, why am I making this decision? Aren't you the doctor? Shouldn't you tell us what to do?" It's really difficult.
It was horrible, and he couldn't eat for 2 days, like
Yeah.
48 hours, and he's a baby, he can't talk. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It really was.
Love it so hard. So sorry. When do you feel like you had that moment where you saw him turn a corner?
I would say you could tell as they were working on his blood sugars and giving him insulin, and you could tell he would start getting perking up a little bit and getting that energy. I would say by the 3rd day, we were in the hospital, we were about to get out of the PICU, you could just tell
Yeah.
the vibes were different, the doctors were different. He was getting up in his crib and gliding around, like, you could see the energy in his face.
Yeah. And you're
Yeah.
just like, "Thank God."
He could finally eat again and nurse or whatever. It was just he was lifeless. He
Yeah.
was. When we got there, he was lifeless. I didn't
And it
know at the time, but they told my husband that he probably had 6 hours to live if we wouldn't have gotten him to the hospital. Yeah, it was horrible.
I can see why now your platform is all about education.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see that, like, your life changed in those days, and, like, you couldn't go back to being the Marley you were before.
No, for sure.
When you were in the hospital, how did you process information while you were there? Because I feel like this is a lot of, like, especially with a diabetes education, you're literally going from seeing ads on TV about diabetes and maybe having older family members with it
Yeah.
to, like, now you're in charge of your son's care for the rest of his life, or at least until he
Yes.
turns 18. But I don't know, in Bain's case, he's gonna be schooling all of us about
I don't
diabetes.
know, he's pretty smart. Yeah, he's pretty
Yeah,
smart with it.
yeah.
I was lost. I was the doctors we still have the same endo, she's wonderful, but she would talk to me and I would feel like I mean, it would just go right over my head. I was like, "I need to go to nursing school. I don't understand this. I do not understand this." I was like my husband's name is Chandler. It's like, "Chandler, I hope you understand this because I don't understand the carb ratios, measuring like he nurses. How am I supposed to make sure I give him this insulin for how much he's nursing? I don't know how many carbs." Like it was such a learning curve, but also the doctors, the nurses, not really our endo, but the PICU doctors, the random residents that would come in, the nurses, they didn't know anything about type 1 in a baby. I can't tell you how many times I was told, "We've never seen this in a baby. This is
Mm,
the first time we've ever seen this. We don't know about breast milk. We don't know about nursing. Like, we're kinda learning with you." And we're like and that kinda scares you as a mom because
yeah.
this is your baby. This is your first baby, and he's in severe DKA on lifeless, and the doctors are like, "We've never seen this before." And this is,
Oh,
like, the biggest children's hospital in our state. Like, this is where all the sick kids go.
no, yeah, what
So
you
it
wanna
was
hear
just it
is,
was
like, "We've seen this thousands of times. We know exactly how to treat this. Here's step 1, 2,
yes.
3. Like, here's
They're
your
like, "The
binder."
youngest we've seen is, like, 3 years old," and I'm like, "But he's 12 months old. He's a baby. Like, he don't even walk."
Have, like, kind of an interesting question. Are you glad they said that to you? "We've never seen this before?"
In a way, it makes you feel like a unicorn in a way. You're like, "What did I do?" I'm the type of mom you could say is crunchy or I try to set him up for success and what I think is successful, and I make sure he eats good foods and he doesn't watch TV much, and
Yeah.
I'm a therapist that's worked with peds, so I'm like, "You're not doing this, or you're not doing we're not doing this. We're gonna play outside. We're gonna eat healthy foods. We're not gonna eat dyes." And then when your baby gets diagnosed with diabetes at 12 months old, you're like, "What did I do?" Like, I tried to do everything perfect in my head. That's what I was doing. I was trying to be perfect for him, and as you learn and you learn this disease, it doesn't discriminate in that way. It don't matter if you're the perfect parent or the worst parent. It doesn't matter. Diabetes can still hit you.
That blame that comes on at the onset of a diagnosis, like, just as moms, we think, "What did I miss? What did I eat?
Yes,
What did I drink? Was it this one thing that we did?" And it's so interesting because kids can feel that way too,
for sure.
especially, like, those early childhood, preschool, school age, like, "What did I do to need this or have this?" And I feel like I'm gonna jump the gun, but I have so many questions for you. When do you feel like you started to understand what Bain needed and what your job was? So I'm thinking about Marley in the hospital who's just totally overwhelmed, and that's such a
Just
normalizing
crying
experience.
constantly. Yes.
Thank you for saying that because I think we can see you now on TikTok and go, "Oh my gosh, she's so educated, she's so smart, she's so knowledgeable," but it wasn't always that way. How
No,
long do you think it took you, and are you still learning new things?
for sure. I learn every day. When I was in the hospital, the doctors would come try to talk to me and I would just bust out in tears, and I mean, I was so emotional, and I would just be like, "Talk to Chandler." Like, I'm just trying to understand the emotion side of what I'm dealing with. And then for the first month when we got home, I wouldn't even do anything. Like, I wouldn't give him a shot, I wouldn't check his blood, I wouldn't do his Dexcom, I wouldn't do any of it. And
Yeah,
I think it was more that in my head, it was, "How can I hurt him? How can I do this to him?"
yeah,
Because he was getting probably 12 shots a day, probably on average,
yeah,
and he's my baby. I just I just couldn't fathom doing that, and then one day, me and him left the house, and we drove to town, and I went to Chick-fil-A, and his blood sugar started going high. Like, it just started going high, and I knew, I was like, "I gotta do it. I gotta
yeah.
give him insulin." So I called my husband, he's talking me through it, and I gave it to him, and ever since then, I kind of was like, "Okay, that's what I needed, I guess."
Yeah. Yeah, you just had to be in the situation that was like, "It's time."
Yeah, I
And
needed that.
it's okay that it's not like, I think the expectation parents can put on them is that you have to have it right when you leave the hospital, and that's actually impossible.
No, you can't.
And that you have to just be able to be okay with it sooner than you do, and it doesn't
No.
have to go that way.
I remember being in that hospital, getting on Facebook and learning about the groups, like all the groups. There's type 1 groups. There's a group called Diapers and Diabetes. It's for parents of type 1 kids, and their kids are very, very young, ranging from way younger than Bain was to, a little bit older. And I would go on there and I would like just ask a million questions. I would go in the search bar and search up words, and I would just read like if I didn't sleep the whole time in the hospital basically because I didn't leave Bane's side. All he had in his bed in his room was a crib. I couldn't fit in the crib. I'm 6 foot tall. I slept in like a recliner chair. Bane slept on top of me the whole time. So I basically was scrolling on my phone trying
Yeah.
to learn all I can. And that's where I kinda started learning about things and figuring out, like, we're gonna be okay. This is a big deal, but it's not something he's still here with us, and we're gonna be okay. Like, we're gonna be okay just like all these other people are okay. And I just learned the Facebook stuff, and I read books and watched YouTube. I tried to find anything I could, and then that's when I started learning about TikTok, and I saw there was only, like, 2 people that I followed that had type 1 and a type 1 kid. The kid was, like, 6, I think, like,
Yeah.
kindergarten age, and then a girl that I would watch, and I kinda learned some stuff from them, and that's when I started feeling a little bit better with managing his diabetes,
One
for
of the
sure.
one of the things I notice about you is when you're with Bain, you're constantly narrating what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I have
I
to
think
wonder
that's
is
just part of my speech therapy
I was about to
background, to be
say,
honest.
yeah, but what have you found with practicing that way with him?
So, I've learned, like, from being a speech therapist, it's so important to just talk to your kids and tell them why you're doing things, tell them what you're doing things for, just narrate everything. That's how they learn language, and he's at an age, or he was at an age, and he still is at an age where he's learning as he deals with things, as he sees things and how we do those things, that's how he's learning. It's always been important to me to just talk him through things. So diabetes was no different. Like if I'm giving him a shot, I'm not wanting to chase him around the house and just shoot him up with a shot. I want him to know like this is important. You have to have this so that you can stay healthy and safe. And I'm trying my goal is to raise him to be aware that this is important because when he's 14 and he's rebelling because he wants to be like his friends down the street, he needs to know like insulin keeps you safe.
Absolutely. I remember having friends with diabetes and type 1 in college and what a learning curve it was. And a
Yeah.
lot of them had moms like you, and it was just a priority for them. And I think we can often hear the other story, and those do happen too, but it is possible. And what I love is like he's so intuitive now, just from some of the videos I watch about he's respectful of you, he listens to you, he wants to help when he can, and that's a big thing I know speech therapists and child life specialists do are like, "What jobs can I give kids
Yeah.
in a situation where he doesn't have a lot of choices here, but what's one choice he can do?" And I see you do that
Yeah.
all the time.
I want it to be as fun as it can be for him
Yeah,
because, of course, it's not fun. Nobody wants to be poked and prodded, and nobody wants to deal with that. But if he can pick out the little stickers that he can put on his body, if he can pick where his shot is going today, if he
yeah,
can poke his own toe, like that gives him the ability to feel independent and like, this is my disease.
yeah. What have you done to help take care of you? Because you are such an amazing mom, and for me, it's so clear to see that Bain is so loved and so supported, and that's all because of you, and the way you feel is so, so important. What are some of the things you do that feel good for you?
I think that I think the phase of life we're in, that's just not important, if
Yeah,
you want me to be honest.
I do. Yeah, because it's every day, every hour, every nap
It
time.
doesn't stop.
Yeah.
One day it'll be different. Whenever
Mm,
he's older and you can trust people to take care of him because he can tell you, like, if he's dropping or he's too young for me to feel comfortable to put his hands in other people's hands.
yeah,
So, if it's not me or my husband, like, there's nothing we can do but do it.
and that's the reality
Yeah,
that
truly.
so many medical parents face, is that there's not someone else who can step in.
No. And that's the reason I can't go to work and you c he's not got a condition where he's medically fragile. He can't go to a medically fragile daycare and have nurses. He would go to a normal daycare where there's not a nurse, and I don't I don't feel like I have the trust to trust people to take as good of care of him as I will.
For sure, and that makes sense, like, based on you going to the hospital and them saying, "We haven't
Yeah,
seen this before."
yeah, yeah, and when we were in the hospital, like, the nurses it's not their fault, but they taught us how to draw insulin with the wrong syringes. We got sent home with the wrong syringes, and we're like we get home, we go back to our 2nd week appointment that he's head, and the endo's like, "Have y'all been using these syringes?" And we're like, "Yes." She's like, "We've been giving him more insulin than what he was technically dosed for," and we're like, "Well, it's working, and that's what we were taught, and we know
Yeah.
nothing about diabetes."
Yes.
So it's like, if you leave the hospital and mistakes happen there, it scares me to send him to a school or a daycare as a one-year-old and trust that that can be done correctly.
Yeah.
And I just knew, like, I will do it. I will make sure he's taken care of. Like, that's my main priority.
Like, you've become his advocate, his
For
voice,
sure, for
especially when
sure.
he's so little. What are some of your favorite parts of being Bain's mom?
I love talking to him and just having conversations with him and, seeing the world through his eyes.
What is he like? What is he into right now?
He
Besides you,
loves to
I
be
know he
out.
loves you.
Oh, yeah. He loves to be outside. He always wants to be outside playing with rocks or dirt or he don't care what it is, he just wants to be outside. He loves to run up behind you, and he's in his little hitting phase. He'll, like, hit you on the booty and run off. You're like, "What are you doing?"
Gosh, that doesn't change. Like, my son's 10, and I feel like if he gets a chance to smack me on the butt, he does
Yeah.
it, but I blame my husband for that.
Yeah, I'm like, "Babe, what are you doing? Leave me alone." He just he's just joyful. He just everything is exciting to him. People ask me like, "What can I buy him?" I know he has everything, but what can I buy him? I'm like, "You can literally give him a rock and he would be excited." He's just that type of kid. Like, he just really is. But right now, we've been doing lots of arts and crafts. That's kinda his thing right now, so we've been do we've been doing that a lot.
Good, good. Yeah, I see you did some pumpkin videos, some arts and crafts, some of that fun stuff.
Yeah, he's in that stage where he's enjoying coloring and making messes, and
Yeah.
making messes is the main thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, emphasis on the mess.
Yeah.
You mentioned Facebook groups, and I know you were on the Juice Box podcast. I know you have a new t-shirt that's out to raise
Yes, yeah.
awareness and funds. What are some of the best resources you want moms who are in this beginning phase to know and reach out to?
I think finding support is the main thing, whether it be people online. That's where I've made the biggest connection of parents and moms, and seeing people that deal with this firsthand, that's important, especially the age range. I feel like moms, if you have a 4-year-old that is just getting diagnosed, it's good to find parents of kids around that age, because every age comes with its own obstacles. And my biggest thing was Facebook groups at first. The one that I love is called Diapers and Diabetes. It's for like infants with type 1, but also the Juice Box podcast is wonderful. If you once you get settled and you feel comfortable and you're not scared of everything that has just happened, start listening to it. It'll change your perspective about diabetes and how to manage, and he'll tell you things that the doctors and the nurses just don't tell you. He knows it's the real life things that you just truly need to know. Social media has helped so much. Just I never thought we would be on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. That was never like a path that I chose. It kind of just happened, but
Yeah.
it's connected me with people that get us through the day. Like, if I yesterday, his tubing had a little bit of, like, blood in it from his pump, and I text my friend, and I was like, "Has this ever happened to y'all?" And she's like, "No." And so we just started, like, going through, the what ifs and what we should do, and it's just nice to have people that you can just run and talk to even if they're across the country.
Yeah, and the best way to do that is just go in the search bar. Like, I know
Yes.
you have hashtags that are specific for what you're going through, and
Yes.
that's a great way to find people.
Yes, for sure.
Well, Marlee, you are a light through and through, and I don't know if you ever could have even dreamt of the impact you've had, but on me as a child life specialist, and I really feel like you're flipping the script for medical parenting. to make it not only so that other people can learn and know what it's like, but for other parents who are facing it. And what you do and the way you help him feel empowered and you talk to him is such a beautiful model for so many others. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't see it in real life because it's just normal to me,
Yeah.
so it's nice to hear things like that
Oh,
because
okay. Let me just
that's
put a big mirror up here that you can see how incredible you are.
thank you.
During
Thank
the
you so much.
hardest time of your phase, you are lifting others up.
I'm trying to show people that diabetes doesn't have to be your life and doesn't have to be the reason that you have a bad life, or you can be anything and do anything you want and just have diabetes. Like, it's okay. Bain is a healthy 2-year-old that's wild, that falls all the time, that eats everything, but he has diabetes and he's okay, and he's
Yeah.
gonna be okay. And a year ago, I could have never imagined this.
I can't wait to see what else he does with you.
He blows me away every day. He really does. He's the strongest boy I've ever met, which
Mm.
I know there's lots of strong boys and girls, but
Yeah.
in my face and what I see, he's unbelievably strong. He's stronger than I could ever be.
He gets to pull on your strength, and that's just evident from an outsider looking in. And so you're pretty awesome too.
Thank you.
As a parent, you want to be there for your child, especially when it comes to their health. But healthcare can be overwhelming and confusing. The good news is child life specialists are experts who help families navigate these challenges. But often our support is only in hospitals. So imagine if you had access to these valuable tools and resources all the time. You would be able to understand medical procedures, explain them to your child, and help them feel less anxious, which also makes you probably feel less anxious. So when your child visits the doctor, has surgery, or has a medical procedure, having the right information and support can make all the difference. You, the parent, can be prepared to answer their questions, calm their fears, and advocate for their needs. Child Life Specialist tools are ready to be in your hands right now through our app Support Spot. All you have to do is go to the iOS or Android store, type in Support Spot. We are giving all of our listeners on this podcast access to the app for just $19.99 for an entire year. You are going to have, I'm not kidding, 7 years worth of resources and support and information that we have been building at Child Life on Call at your fingertips. With these tools in your pocket, you can transform the way your family experiences medical care. Parents, you deserve to be informed and feel confident in your child's healthcare journey. And by having access to Support Spot, you can ensure that your child feels supported and understood no matter what medical challenges come your way. Head to the link in the show notes or go to your app store, type in Support Spot to download it today. For those of you who are joining us today, I am not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I am a child life specialist. And the suggestions and tips and resources that I talk about with parents on this podcast may be great for you and they may not be right for you. So the most important person you can talk to about getting support is your care team, your doctor who knows your story and your child's story. So regardless of maybe what I mention or what other families mention here, we're not licensed therapists, we're not doctors. We're having a conversation about what the parenting journey has been like. So please keep that in mind as you listen today.